Hey guys, Irius here and welcome along to another video. Here we are back on Gran Turismo Sport for the next round of the Manufacturer Series, the race better known as the Impossible Race. Now it's absolutely impossible for me to do well here, just trust me, all will be revealed later on in the video, so make sure you hang around for that. So we're here and we're going to go through our usual pre-race practice ritual. Now for those who missed this in the last video, 1. Make sure you go back and watch it, and 2. What you do is you go grab the slowest time of the top 10 with the same car as you, or a similar car if your car that you're using isn't on there. Now use the replay function to study their lap, making notes of their braking points, their gearing and turning points, and then just try and replicate it yourself in the detached time trial mode. Now that should, if you do it right, get you up to speed much quicker. Now I feel at home around here, and it's one of my favourite tracks, which I'm sure many of you will already know. So I was expecting to be quick reasonably early, but I didn't realise that I'd be quite this quick this early. And my quickest lap was done on only lap 3, and a very respectable, in my view at least, 138.216. Now the ghost I'm chasing is of TRL Adam, a world finalist driver, and his time that he set was a 137.114. So only 1.1 seconds off him over a longish lap of 1 minute 40 seconds on only my third attempt. So I was very happy with that indeed, and I took that time into the race session. So here's the lobby that we're going to be partaking in today. Another strong lobby, all A+ or S ranked drivers. Here are the points on offer. So I'll need to finish around 6th or higher to improve on my top 4 scores that I've already got this season. We're car number 9 in this one, so the game is expecting a mid-pack finish from us here, which given the circumstances is going to be very hard indeed, which we're going to see very shortly. So another short session here, 5 minutes in length, and on our outlap we were all nicely line astern in a good train, which would have been great for the slipstream for this our first flying lap attempt. But then the Cayman just pulls over, leaving a big gap to the TT up in front, which wasn't ideal to say the very least. But like all Brits do, we kept calm and carried on, and we came across the line having finished a clean lap, which I felt was okay with a 1 minute 39.3, which was good enough for 4th at this point. But then I had an absolute brain fart. Muscle memory kicked in and I just came out of the session. But of course, with the session only being 5 minutes, I didn't have enough time to go round again and start another lap, so my session was over. We did the majority of that lap with no slipstream as well, so we had more time in the bank I think, which made it that little bit more frustrating. But alas, I had to sit tight here and hope we didn't fall down the order, which thankfully we didn't, and 4th place is where we would start as we moved on to the race itself. So here we are, all ready to go, just waiting for the countdown to start. You'll see that I have myself in fuel map 6, just trying to save a little bit more fuel, which is what we're going to need for pretty much the entirety of this race. So as we get underway here, as always, we're just trying to keep it as safe as possible. The impact of any issues or penalties are magnified tenfold at the start of any race because everybody is just so close together. So we're going to fall into line because we also, as I've just mentioned, need to fuel save as much as we possibly can, to be honest. And whilst I do that, let me introduce this race. We're in the Manufacturer Series, round number 5 here at Interlagos in the Group 3 Mustang. The tyre multiplier was 8 for this one and the fuel multiplier was 5. So the go-to strategy for this race is a no-stopper, but unfortunately for us, despite the strategy being a no-stopper, our car cannot do that. No matter what we do, we could do all the usual things, mess around with the fuel maps as you saw me do just there, shift gears early, even lift and coast, but it's just not going to be enough. Therefore, we are going to need to stop at some point during this race, and this is what I mean by being an impossible race. Anybody who has to stop here is done for. It is tough enough to recover at any track where you need to pit when everyone else can stay out. But for Interlagos, this has one of the longest pit lanes in the game, and it's a nightmare for anyone with a car without great fuel consumption, which the Mustang, of course, is the epitome of. So our only option, in my view, really is to sit behind here and try and create a pit stops distance between ourselves and as many as possible behind, while saving as much fuel as possible so we're stationary for as short a time as possible. And when we have made our stop, we're going to come out, see where we are and fight to see what we can salvage from there. And stuff like this isn't going to help our cause. Moving ahead here to lap number 3, we're going to cut too much of the corner coming through the centre S's, giving ourselves a penalty. But whilst it's an inconvenience, it's not the biggest of our issues right now. The biggest issue is this. Look at the fuel gauge. We're already under 10 laps left and we have 12 more laps to go after this one. Kirith is going to overtake the Lancer now, which is going very, very slowly. I could have gone for it as well, but decided not to as I didn't want to lose him time, only to serve my penalty a few corners later and then lose the position once again. So we're going to serve our penalty here. Only one penalty gate at Interlagos, of course, and we are down a spot to 5th place. But we're not going to be there for long as I immediately take the position back coming through turn number 5, expelling a little bit of fuel in the process. But I felt it was important to get back onto the back of the 2 up in front, who are setting a decent pace in this race at the moment and will drag us along quite nicely. We're going to then overtake the Mitsubishi, who is also saving fuel, but going too slow for me to just sit there and accommodate. So I overtake him and now need to efficiently catch up to Kirith up in front. I am fuel saving as much as possible while I do this, sometimes getting off the throttle 100 metres before my usual braking point. Here I normally brake at around the 75 metre mark, but I'm braking even before the 150. But the Spaniard, as we move to lap 8 here, is clearly happy with how his fuel saving is going. He's going to put his foot down as he comes through turn number 5 and then pass us, and then he's going to pass Kirith too at turn 4 on the next lap. But we've got to really resist trying to go with him, as we will simply burn too much fuel, which we just cannot afford to do right now, and will just end up being stationary for longer in the pit stops. And whilst we're behind Kirith, actually, I also wanted to give him a shout out. He's a YouTube GT Sport content creator as well, and a nice guy. He needs about 150 subs, I think, to get to the huge milestone of 1000. After which you can monetize your channel, get paid for views, get channel memberships and super chats and stuff. It's massive to get there, and I know how good it feels to reach that milestone and how much work it takes to get there as well. He has around, as I say, 150 to go to get that magic 1000, and I'd really like to do something nice. So please do head over there and give him a sub and let him know I sent you. Let's see if we can get him over 1000 to start 2021. Thank you guys. YouTube, remember, is big enough for us all. And we're going to rejoin the action here at the end of lap number 12, where, as you can see, I'm going to have to pull in. We've only got 0.6 laps left of fuel, so we had 3 laps to go. You know, there was just nothing that we could do, and we were fuel saving as hard as we could and being sat in someone's slipstream, but it still wasn't enough. So obviously no tyres required in this one. I fill up just past the diamond, remember, because I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of fuel left to push. I also don't need any fuel anxiety, because to be quite honest, I have enough issues being quick as it is without having to worry about fuel. So as we come out of possibly the longest pit exit in the whole of GT Sport, we're going to come out in 12th place, just at the back of a huge train. And it's quite a close race at this point, because 5th is at the front of this huge train, and I want to and I need to make my way through the pack, considering now that I've fueled up and I no longer have to worry about fuel. Fast forwarding to the end of the lap here, I'm going to use my newfound fuel level to overtake the Lexus into turn 1 here at the start of lap 14. But this is where some issues are going to start for us, to be honest. We are going to have to push quite hard to get to, well, 5th could be a problem for us, definitely going to be a problem. We've got to really focus on 8th, 9th and 10th in front. But I moved to the middle of the track to show my intention. I didn't want to let him pass. Now I try and move back onto the racing line, but he is there, completely unsettling me, and I almost lose it coming here into turn number 4. Thankfully though, Although he's alongside, the next corner is a right-hander at the top of the hill, so he cannot come through. But what he's done though is he's cost us a lot of time, and when I say us, I mean him and us collectively, and we are no longer going to be able to catch the group up in front. So for me, my mindset has got to change from wanting 5th to wanting 8th to now just consolidating this position and getting out of this race with as many points as I can possibly get. But here on the final lap, a point of contention arrives. Insult is added to injury here in this already impossible race. I didn't make reference to it in the thumbnail as I didn't want this video to be about this, but I do need to draw attention to it as it was a big part of the race. Now, coming into the slow right-hander, keep your eye on the radar here. He is just going to bump us out of the way, which is fine. Mistakes happen like the one I did there where I hit him, but I got out of the throttle and let him keep the position. And once he takes the place, he doesn't let us back through, and he does everything he can to keep it, and he's going to fight it all the way to the end. And you know what? That's fine too. If that's your level of integrity and you're happy with that, then go for it, son. But if you're going to do that, then you've got to stand by your decision. He then sends me, in the lobby afterwards, in my view, an insincere apology. Let me know in the comments if you think he was being sincere or not. I don't. And quite frankly, if he had made a mistake, he should have just given the place back. But he didn't, and whilst disappointing, we come across someone like that in this race, it's not a massive loss. I'd rather it happen in a race like this than another race where we actually had a chance, because as I mentioned, anyone in a car such as a Mustang didn't really have a chance in this one. I could have gone for it, but I would have burnt more fuel and then just had to come in earlier and put more fuel in, to be honest, which would have put me behind the train of cars we came out behind anyway, and in my view it wouldn't have made much of a difference. Plus we have 4 scores to fall back on, so this one won't matter anyway, and we can move on to the next one, which is Dragon Trail Gardens 2. So wish me luck, guys. But until then, that is going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Also, if you want to help the channel out by using my links to buy Fanatec gear, it would be really, really appreciated. But thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.